The morning.
Q2 projections
sun
look
filtered
solid.
through
This
the
dip in
floor to
marketing is
ceiling
temporary.
windows of
Good.
Mark
Let's
Collins'
monitor it and adjust if needed.
Manhattan office,
Agreed.
Okay.
casting a golden
See this
glow
trend line?
across the
It's our
sleek
key
modern
metric.
furnishings.
Okay, I see it. So
Mark,
we
the
adjust
CEO
this?
of a rapidly
Exactly.
growing
Give it a
tech
try.
firm, usually began his day by reviewing the company's financials. But today something unusual caught his eye. At a corner desk near the window sat Emma, a junior analyst who had joined the company just 6 months ago. She was hunched over her laptop, her fingers flying across the keyboard, with a speed and precision that made Mark stop mid-sentence as he scanned his reports. Curiosity got the better of him. Mark adjusted his glasses and walked over, trying to understand what could possibly demand such intense focus from someone so new. On the screen, numbers and charts moved almost magically. Formulas he had spent hours teaching his team to calculate seemed to unravel in seconds. Under Emma's gaze, she barely glanced up as Mark approached. Her eyes locked on the screen, her lips moving slightly as if she were calculating out loud. Mark felt a mixture of astonishment and skepticism. "Is she really doing what I think she's doing?" he murmured to himself. He leaned closer, watching Emma isolate discrepancies in the company's latest acquisition proposal. The data she was analyzing was complex, a million-dollar problem that had stumped the senior analysts for days. Yet she moved through it effortlessly, identifying patterns and inconsistencies with astonishing speed. He cleared his throat softly. "Emma," she looked up, startled for a brief second, before her expression returned to calm focus. I just noticed an anomaly in the proposal," she said, her voice steady but humble. "If we adjust the projected terms, the company could save several $1,000,000. I ran a quick simulation and these numbers make sense." Mark's jaw dropped slightly. He had seen many talented employees in his decade-long career, but few had the analytical instinct and confidence that Emma displayed. He felt a rush of admiration. This was raw talent in action. At the same time, a spark of strategic thinking ignited in his mind. How could someone so capable have gone unnoticed until now? He leaned against her desk, trying to mask his excitement. Most senior analysts would have spent days, maybe weeks, to come to the same conclusion. He said. Emma gave a small, modest smile, clearly unaccustomed to such praise. Yet Mark noticed something else. A fire in her eyes. She wasn't just solving a problem. She genuinely loved the challenge. The kind of brilliance that combined skill, speed, and passion was rare, and he realized that today he had stumbled upon it. As he returned to his own office, Mark couldn't stop thinking about what he had just witnessed. This was more than a lucky find. This was an opportunity. An employee like Emma could change the trajectory of his company if he recognized and nurtured her potential. In that quiet morning moment amid sunlight and numbers, a CEO realized that sometimes the most important talent was not the one he had hired for experience, but the one he had noticed at the right moment. Later that morning, Mark couldn't shake the image of Emma hunched over her laptop, racing through calculations like she was born to solve them. He called her into his office, a spacious glass-walled room overlooking the city streets below. The view was impressive, but Mark barely noticed it. His focus was entirely on the young analyst in front of him. "Emma, have a seat," he said, gesturing to the chair across from his desk. She walked in slightly nervous, but her posture was upright and confident. Mark leaned back in his chair. "Studying her carefully, I watched what you did earlier. That model you completed in what seconds? Most of my senior analysts would have needed days." Emma flushed slightly. I just followed the numbers," she said modestly. "I noticed a small inconsistency in the projections, and the rest just made sense." Mark smiled, impressed not just by her skill, but by her humility. "Emma, I have to be honest, you have a gift. It's rare to see someone your age tackle multi-million-dollar financial models with such precision. This isn't just technical skill. It's intuition, insight, and a level of analytical thinking I've rarely encountered." Emma's eyes widened slightly, the gravity of his words sinking in. She had worked hard, long hours, and studied countless finance cases, but recognition from the CEO himself was something she had never expected. "Thank you, sir, I appreciate that," she said softly, still trying to process the praise. Mark leaned forward, his hands clasped. "I don't just want to compliment you, Emma. I want to give you an opportunity. There's a new project starting next week, a critical initiative that could define the company's growth for the next 5 years. I want you leading it." Emma blinked in surprise. "Leading it, me?" "Yes," Mark said, smiling. "I know it's a lot of responsibility, but I've never been more confident that someone can handle it. You have the skill, the mindset, and the determination to make it a success. I don't usually hand this kind of trust to someone with only 6 months in the company, but you've earned it in one morning." For a moment, Emma's mind raced. The idea of leading such a high-stakes project was daunting, almost terrifying, but beneath the fear, a spark of excitement ignited. This was exactly the kind of challenge she had been waiting for. An opportunity to prove herself not just to the company, but to herself. "I'll do it," she said finally, her voice steady determination shining through. "I won't let you down," Mark nodded, a smile crossing his face. "I know you won't, and don't worry. You won't be doing it alone. You'll have support from the team. But the vision and direction will be yours. Think of it as your chance to shape the future of this company." As Emma left the office, she felt a surge of energy and purpose. Mark watched her go, realizing that sometimes the most valuable skill a CEO could have was the ability to see potential and act on it before anyone else did today. He had found brilliance, and he wasn't going to let it slip away. By the following week, Emma had officially taken the helm of the critical project. The conference room buzzed with anticipation as senior team members gathered around, some curious, others skeptical of a junior analyst leading a high-stakes initiative. Emma set her laptop on the sleek table, connected it to the projector, and looked at the team with calm confidence. "Thank you all for being here," she began. "I know this is a complex project, but I've analyzed the data and developed a plan that I believe will maximize efficiency and generate significant savings for the company." She clicked through slides filled with charts, projections, and proposed strategies. Every recommendation was backed by numbers, simulations, and risk assessments. Even the most experienced analysts were impressed, and some exchanged glances of surprise. Emma noticed their initial skepticism slowly melting into attention. Her clear, concise explanations and ability to anticipate questions made it impossible for anyone to doubt her competence. Mark, sitting at the back of the room, watched silently, a mixture of pride and awe rising within him. This was exactly what he had hoped for. Emma wasn't just competent, she was exceptional, and her presence commanded respect without demanding it. When a senior analyst challenged one of her assumptions, Emma calmly explained her reasoning, supporting it with precise calculations in real-world scenarios. By the end of the presentation, the room was filled with nods and murmurs of agreement. Over the next few days, Emma threw herself into the project. She coordinated meetings, analyzed data, and adjusted strategies in real time as new information emerged. She worked long hours, but each task seemed to energize her rather than drain her. Her ability to see patterns and potential outcomes before anyone else gave the team a confidence they hadn't felt in previous projects. Mark often checked in not to micromanage, but to observe and support. One afternoon, he entered Emma's office to find her running a complex simulation on her laptop. The numbers were staggering. Her adjustments had uncovered a previously overlooked opportunity that could save the company millions more than initially projected. Mark couldn't help but smile. Emma's talent was not just in solving problems, but in thinking several steps ahead, anticipating challenges and finding solutions that others couldn't see. That evening, after the team had left, Mark approached Emma. "You've done incredible work," he said. "I've watched many teams over the years, but what you're doing is exceptional. You've not only solved the problem, but inspired the team to perform at their best." That's rare. Emma felt a swell of pride, but also a sense of responsibility. She realized this was more than just a career opportunity. It was a turning point in her life. The trust Mark had placed in her wasn't just recognition of her talent. It was a challenge to rise to her fullest potential, and she intended to meet it. By the end of the week, the project had already begun showing measurable results. Emma's strategies had saved the company substantial resources, and her team's confidence in her leadership had grown exponentially. For Mark, it was a validation of his decision to recognize and empower talent, proving that sometimes the most impactful leadership choice a CEO can make is simply to notice brilliance and give it room to flourish. Weeks passed, and Emma's project had begun to exceed even the most optimistic projections. The savings she had identified were already in the millions, and her innovative approach had streamlined processes across multiple departments. What had started as a tentative assignment for a junior analyst had transformed into a defining initiative for the entire company. Her name began circulating in board meetings, whispered among senior executives. As a rising star who had achieved what many seasoned professionals could not, Mark Collins watched all of this with quiet satisfaction. From the moment he first noticed Emma's extraordinary abilities, he had sensed her potential. But seeing it realized on such a scale was something entirely different. He made a point of acknowledging her achievements. In company-wide meetings, always careful to emphasize that her talent and dedication had earned the results. Not luck yet. He also knew that recognition alone was not enough. Emma needed challenges, guidance, and trust to continue growing. One afternoon, Mark called Emma into his office. She entered slightly weary from long hours, but her eyes sparkled with determination. "Emma," he began, "what you've accomplished over the past month is nothing short of extraordinary. You've not only saved the company millions, but you've also inspired your team to perform at a level one haven't seen in years that takes more than skill. It takes vision and leadership." Emma felt a rush of pride tinged with humility. "Thank you, Mark. I've had an incredible team supporting me, and your trust made all the difference. Without it, I don't think I could have achieved this." Mark smiled. "I've always believed that the most important job of a CEO is to recognize talent when it appears and to give it the space to grow. You've proven that in spades. I want you to know that the company's future strategy will include more projects. Under your leadership, you're going to shape how we operate, how we innovate, and how we approach challenges from now on." Emma's mind raced. The idea that she could now influence the company's direction at this level was overwhelming, yet exhilarating. She realized that this moment was a culmination of years of hard work, but also a testament to being noticed at the right time. Mark had seen her abilities when no one else had, and that recognition had opened doors she never imagined. As she left his office, Emma reflected on how far she had come. From a junior analyst quietly working at a corner desk, she had grown into a leader, capable of making critical decisions with confidence. The company had benefited from her insight, but she had also discovered a deeper sense of purpose in her own potential. Mark, watching her walk away, felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Sometimes he thought leadership isn't just about strategy or vision. It's about seeing brilliance when it's quietly working in the background and having the courage to let it shine. Emma's journey was proof that talent, when recognized and empowered, could transform not only a company, but the lives of those willing to embrace it. In the bustling heart of Manhattan, amidst glass towers and boardroom decisions, a young analyst had turned a single moment of recognition into a legacy of innovation and excellence, an inspiring reminder that sometimes all it takes is one person noticing another's potential to change everything.